Hey guys, so today I am back with another monthly TBR video. So this is my May TBR. That's actually insane. How are we already like almost halfway through the year? These are all the books I would like to read in May. I think I have 9 books, 6 physical and 3 ebooks or like audiobooks. I also include like some hopefuls, which are like books that are not actually on my TBR, but like I would not mind getting to them within the month. Let's just get started. Yeah, so the first 3 books are actually all part of the same series, and those are the last 3 books in the Mortal Instruments. So we have City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and then City of Heavenly Fire. So if you watched my March wrap-up, you would have seen that I read these 3 books in March, and in April I've been making my way, well, I say that, but it's already like the 24th. Only actually read the first one. If I don't finish the Imperial Devices this month, I'll just read them at the start of next month and then get to these. I really want to finish this series off, and apparently these ones are much better than the first 3 because I didn't really enjoy the first 3, but that was partly due to a certain incest plotline. Now that that plotline has been resolved, hopefully I can enjoy these 3 a bit more. And I've heard they have more of like Alec and Izzy's POV, and they are definitely my favourite characters, so I'm very excited for that. Please just ignore any background noise. There's just a lot going on. I'm interested to see where the storyline is going to go, because the like first 3 kind of wrapped up that storyline that was going on in those books, so I don't know how they're going to continue it on into these. I'm just very excited to finally finish this series. I would explain like the plot of these, but I feel like everyone knows, and I've been talking about them a lot recently, so you're probably sick of hearing me talk about them. If you don't know the plot, just search it up. The next book I want to read this month is One Last Stop by Casey Mcquiston. I know it still has the thing on. I'll take it off when I read the book. I have actually started this. I started it a couple months ago from my library, but it had to go back before I had a chance to finish it. So now I have the actual book so I can finish it. Red, White and Royal Blue is probably my all-time favourite romance book. Like, I just love that book. So hopefully this one is just as good, if not better. What I did read of it, I only read like 50 pages, but I did really enjoy it. This is like a romance, but it also has like a sci-fi aspect because it is sapphic also. But one of the love interest, she's like stuck on the like subway in New York, and she's from like the 1970s originally, but she's just like stuck in time. I guess they kind of form a romance, and then it kind of goes from there. I don't really know, but hopefully it will be a fun time, and we need some romance to break up the fantasy, although this does have sci-fi elements in it, so. But I love me some magical sci-fi elements in my romances. It just makes it so much better in my opinion. So yeah. Next we have Witches Steeped in Gold by Ciannon Smart. I think that's how you say her name. I'm very sorry if it's not. I got this in like a charity shop like almost a year ago now probably. I thought the blurbs on it cool, and the cover is obviously gorgeous, and I'm pretty sure I'd seen it on like social media as well or something. But then I like got home and I looked it up on Goodreads, and it has like really bad reviews. So I'm a bit scared, which is why I've been putting it off for so long, because it is quite long. I think it's like 500 or so pages. I was just like, if I put it on a TBR, then it'll force me to read it, and we'll see if I enjoy this or not. I know there's a second book out. I don't know if there's going to be more, if it's just a duology. I also don't really know much about it other than it's about witches, obviously. I think they're like enemies who enter an alliance together. I don't know. I thought this was sapphic, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think it is. I'm not 100% sure though. The blurb makes it sound like it's gonna be sapphic, but it doesn't have like the LGBTQ plus tag on Goodreads, so I'm assuming it's not, which is definitely unfortunate. All I know is it's got witches in, it's enemies who have to form an alliance, and honestly that's all I need to know. It sounded really good, but it has really bad reviews, so I'm so scared. And then the last physical book I have is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stievater. I think that's how you say her last name. I'm not 100%. This is the second book in the Raven cycle. This one is The Raven Boys. I've actually already read the entirety of this series when I was in like middle school, but I recently reread The Raven Boys in August, so I want to reread this series because I like have barely any memory of it. This series is kind of hard to explain, and it's been a long time since I read the first one, so this may be a bit of a bad description. In this like town there is this school. It's kind of like a private all-boys school which is full of all these rich pretentious assholes. We sort of follow 4 of the boys from that school, as well as Blue. Now Blue, she goes to like the public school and she's like does not like any of the boys at this like rich private school. Her family are all like psychics and she's kind of like a psychic. She can see the dead, I think, and stuff like that. But she kind of forms a friendship with these 4 boys from the school. They sort of like investigate this like King Arthur thing. I think it's like King Arthur and Welsh mythology and stuff like that. It's also very prevalent within the series because they're sort of researching that. And like it's also as like supernatural stuff, and Blue kind of gets caught up in that with like the boys from the private school, and they sort of form friendships and maybe a romance. It's a very fun time, and they're very like easy, fast reads, I feel like, and I really do love this series. So I'm very excited to finally finish my reread now that I own all the books in it. Now for the like ebooks and stuff. I have 3 ebooks I would like to get to this month. So the first one is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Now I feel like this was one of the most popular books last year. Like I've not seen a single bad thing being said about this book. Everyone just absolutely loves it. And I've wanted to read it for the longest time, but I just keep putting it off. To be honest, I don't really know what it's about. I know it's about like video games, and I think they make video games together. And I think there may be a romance, but I know it's like not a romance book. It's like a more lit, thick, contemporary kind of book. Hopefully it'll be a good time. It looks really good and the cover is gorgeous. It just looks very interesting, and I've not heard like a single bad thing being said about it, so hopefully it's a good time. I want to read The Heart Principle by Helen Hoang. I'm really sorry if I'm saying it like wrong. This is the like 3rd book, a little interconnected standalone series which has the Kiss Quotient in and the Bride Test, I believe. I have read the Kiss Quotient. I read it in January and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I have not read the second one, but I'm planning on reading it sometime at the end of this month. These romances all follow where there'll be a love interest are all like related. I think 2 of them are brothers and then one of them is their like cousin, and they all feature like neurodivergent characters on the autistic spectrum, which as a fellow neurodivergent girl we love to see. I literally know nothing about it. I kind of like to know nothing in romance books. And the last ebook I would like to read in the month of May is Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. You're probably sick of seeing this book. It is probably one of the most popular books right now. I cannot scroll on TikTok or watch a booktube video without seeing this book mentioned, and I'm giving into the hype. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so I may as well just pick it up. It's quite long though. I think it's like 500 pages or something. Again, I know nothing about this. I know it's kind of like the Hunger Games but with vampires, which sounds so good, and recently I've been in a really big like vampire mood, so hopefully this hits. It just looks like it's gonna be so much fun, and I love the cover, and I've just heard nothing but good things. I don't think I've heard a single person say anything bad about this book. I also believe it's like enemies or like rivals to lovers, which, you know, I'm gonna eat up every single time. Those are all the actual books I would like to get to within the month of May. However, there are some like books which are kind of like hopefuls, I guess, that I wouldn't mind getting to. The first one we have is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I did read the Spin the Dawn duology recently, also by Elizabeth Lim, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hated that series. It was really not for me. I talked about Spin the Dawn in my March wrap-up, and I'll be talking about the sequel in my April wrap-up. However, I did already own this book and I want to give her another try because her covers are so gorgeous. Like, I just want to buy her and love her books for the covers alone, because these are some of the prettiest covers I've ever seen. But I am super scared going into this because obviously was not the biggest fan of her other series. I feel like this one is a lot more popular as well. Although I have heard it kind of reads like a middle grade and not a YA, so who knows. Also, this does also take place in the Spin the Dawn world, but it's like a few hundred years prior to the events of Spin the Dawn, because the characters in this are like mentioned in the duology, which I think is very interesting, but they're like not connected in any way from my knowledge. They're just kind of set within the same world. What I know about this is I think our main character, she's like cursed to never speak, and also her like 6 brothers are turned into cranes, and if she speaks, I think one of her brothers like die, and she's kind of been like exiled. That's all I know. I think she was like cursed for doing magic or something, which is illegal in the world. I've heard good things for the most part about the first book, but I've heard not the best things about the second book, so we'll see if I enjoy this. If I do not, then I guess Elizabeth Lim is just not the author for me, which is very sad because, I mean, look at her covers. They are gorgeous. Another hopeful on my TBR is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Since reading the Lunar Chronicles, I think I've discovered I actually kind of like sci-fi, so I really want to read these, and I want to get into Sanderson, and I feel like this is kind of the easiest series to get to because it's not connected to like his Cosmere, is that what it's called, which is like Mistborn and like The Way of Kings, that series, and all of those books. But I do want to get to them at some point. It's just I want to start off with something easy. All I know about this is that our main character Spencer has always wanted to be a pilot or something, I think. However, she's kind of not allowed to be because I think her dad did something bad, so she's kind of been like kicked out. They're like, we don't want you. However, I'm assuming she finds a way to become one, and then it kind of just goes on from there. I don't know, but I've heard incredible things and it looks like it's gonna be a very fun time. And then my last hopeful is Gild by Raven Kennedy. Again, ignore the sticker. I know this is a King Midas, I think that's how you say it, retelling. I don't know that story. I don't know who that guy is. I think it's Greek mythology, but I could be wrong. And our main character, she basically has like Stockholm syndrome and she thinks she's in love with him. I think he's like keeps her captive or something, and then he ends up like trading her for like a war deal or something, and she kind of overcomes her Stockholm syndrome, and then it kind of goes on from there, and she kind of realizes that she was not in love with this guy. He was in fact abusive and horrible to her, and I think there is some romance later on in the series. All I know is it's like a dark fantasy romance, and it just looks like it's going to be a very fun time. That is all the books I would like to read, and hopefully I will get to all of these next month. There are a lot of books and a lot of series, and I need to try and finish more series instead of starting them. But hopefully I'll finish The Raven Cycle and The Mortal Instruments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I feel like this was not the best video. It's a bit of a mess, but it's fine. It's fine. I hope you have a good time, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.